All right, let's get started with our table of contents for Unit 2. So remember, you want to fold the table of contents so that the tab is showing on both sides. And we just ended with page 10 back in section 1.6. So the very next page, you are going to glue in your table of contents. And remember, this is the page that you want the tab to stick out a little bit. So once you have it folded and set up correctly, you can go ahead and glue it in. Put glue on the other side as well. Perfect. So again, you'll notice that the tab is sticking out for both Unit 1 table of contents and now Unit 2. So you'll see there's 6 sections in this chapter. You're going to have an assessment after the first 3 and the last 3. So now we're ready to begin page 11. So page 11, you should have the definition of a conditional statement up at the top, and then you'll see hypothesis, conclusion, and negation definitions as well. So you want to fold your notes so that the title is still showing. So you don't want to fold it exactly in half. You just want to fold it so that the title is still showing. Now I'm going to fill out the notes first, and then I'm going to glue it into my notebook. But again, this is page 11. So starting out with the definition of a conditional statement. So a conditional statement is a logical statement. And it's going to have 2 parts. A hypothesis and a conclusion. And then you're going to be determining whether conditional statements are true or false. You're going to be seeing a lot of symbols in this unit. So the symbol P arrow Q is going to symbolize a conditional statement. And you're going to read this as if P, then Q. So again, anytime you see this symbol P arrow Q, you're going to read it as if P, then Q, where P is going to represent the hypothesis. And the hypothesis is going to be followed by the if part. The conclusion is going to be represented by the Q. It's going to be followed by the then part. So again, these are just symbols that you're going to see in this chapter. And then another symbol you're going to see is the negation symbol. So to negate something is just to state the opposite of the original statement. And the negation symbol is this little squiggly symbol. So squiggle P, squiggle Q, that's just like saying not P or not Q. So this is not P or not Q. So let's take a look at some examples of conditional statements. So example 1, we're going to rewrite a statement in if-then form. So you're going to first identify the hypothesis and conclusion, and then when you write the statement in if-then form, you might have to do, just a little bit of rewording to make sure that it makes sense. So all triangles have 3 sides. So your hypothesis is going to be the if part. So it's always going to start with if. And you don't want to say if all triangles. Okay, you want to start out by saying like if a shape is a triangle or if a polygon is a triangle, because again, we're going to have to do some rewording so that this can start making sense. So we'll go with if a polygon is a triangle. That's going to be your hypothesis. Your conclusion is going to be then it will have 3 sides. So again, your hypothesis is the if, the conclusion is the then. So then you can write this in one statement. So there you go. If a polygon is a triangle, then it will have 3 sides. And like I said, I had to reword it because if I did not reword it and I said if all triangles, then it will have 3 sides, that doesn't really make sense. So that's where some of this rewording is going to come into play. Part B, when x equals 4, 2x equals 8. So this one's a little bit easier because there's really not much rewording that is required here. So my hypothesis is this x equals 4. So if x equals 4, and then there's my conclusion, then 2x equals 8. And you can write this in one statement. Okay, C is going to be similar to A, where you are going to have to do some rewording. So it says all 145-degree angles are obtuse angles. So you don't want to say if 145-degree angle. Like that doesn't really make sense. The 145 degrees is talking about the measure of the angle. So you want to do some rewording talking about if the measure of the angle is 145 degrees. So if the measure of an angle is 145 degrees, then you can classify it as an obtuse angle. So you can say then it's an obtuse angle. And then you can write that in one statement. So you'll notice some of these are a little bit wordier than others, but just be aware you might have to reword the conditional statement so that it makes sense. All right, so that is going to be page 11. So taking your notebook, you can fold that in half. You're just going to put glue. Now remember, nothing is sticking out. So you don't need this tab to stick out. You can put it right side up and put it in the middle of the page. And if you're like me and you like to label your pages, this is going to be page 11. So the table of contents does not get a page number. All I am labeling are the notes. So since we just ended with page 10 in 1.6, the first page of actual notes for 2.1 is page 11.